Welcome to Guide to Reads. If you're a leader aiming to boost engagement, reduce burnout, and truly inspire your team in today's high-pressure work environment, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and tap the notification bell for more powerful leadership insights. Today we're diving into Lead Well, 5 Mindsets to Engage, Retain, and Inspire Your Team by Paula Davis, a renowned stress resilience expert and leadership coach. This book is your modern playbook for building culture from the inside out, combining cutting-edge psychology with practical, real-world strategies. Here's the truth. The core elements of a great workplace, resilience, connection, values alignment, and community, haven't changed, but our need to intentionally cultivate them has never been greater. With burnout soaring, quiet quitting on the rise, and the lingering effects of a global pandemic and rapid AI transformation shaking the workplace, leaders can no longer treat well-being and culture as side projects. The old ways? They're not enough anymore. To lead well today, you need a mindset shift. This book breaks down 5 transformational approaches to help you create a culture that doesn't just survive, but thrives. Ready to lead in a way that actually works? Let's dive in. 1. The power of sticky. Let's kick off with the first essential mindset shift: prioritizing sticky recognition and cultivating a deep sense of mattering. One of the biggest reasons employees disengage? They don't feel genuinely seen or valued, not by their managers, and often not by their organizations. Too often, leaders assume that people know they're appreciated. But assumption isn't enough. People need to feel it. Frequently, authentically, specifically. Think about how recognition usually shows up at work. Annual awards, quarterly reviews, occasional shout-outs. Maybe a team lunch or a gift card here and there. Nice gestures, but they're often too generic or too infrequent to leave a lasting impact. They're not what you'd call sticky. Sticky recognition is different. It's recognition that lands, that resonates, and that sticks with people long after the moment passes. It provides clear, specific evidence of someone's impact. It doesn't take much, just a minute or two of your time, but it can fuel motivation for days, even weeks. Think of it as a thank you plus, not just thanks for your help, but Sarah, thank you for how you handled yesterday's client meeting. Your preparation was clear in how smoothly you addressed concerns, and the way you brought in the team showed real leadership. The client even mentioned how confident they feel with you managing their account. That's sticky. It doesn't just feel nice. It builds something vital, mattering. Mattering is a core human need. It's the powerful combination of feeling valued through appreciation and knowing you add value through acknowledgement of your contributions. And it's missing for a lot of people, especially in today's remote and hybrid environments. Research shows that mattering doesn't just feel good, it works. It reduces burnout and absenteeism, while increasing commitment and job satisfaction. So how do you build it? Notice and name your team's strengths. Acknowledge effort, not just results. Frame mistakes as learning opportunities. Offer stretch assignments that show belief in their growth. These small, intentional actions send a loud message: you matter here, you make a difference, and we see it. 2. Amplify ABC needs. If the first mindset is about helping people feel valued, this second one is about making work feel meaningful. A truly energizing workplace doesn't just recognize employees, it meets their core psychological needs, day in and day out. That's where the second mindset shift comes in. Design work to meet core psychological needs. When people feel a sense of ownership, connection, and growth in their roles, they show up with energy, creativity, and commitment. When those needs go unmet, motivation begins to fade. Enter the ABC framework: autonomy, belonging, challenge. These 3 elements shape how employees experience their work, and they can make the difference between quiet quitting and fully engaged contribution. Let's break them down. Is for autonomy, the choose-your-own-adventure part of work. When employees feel they have influence over how their work unfolds, both day-to-day and long-term, they're more invested. They care more, they try harder, and they innovate more boldly. One powerful way to foster autonomy? Give context. Share the why behind goals, customer feedback, market shifts, business data. When people understand the bigger picture, they make smarter, more aligned decisions without needing micromanagement. This simple shift, from task-based to purpose-driven, unlocks creativity and ownership. B. is for belonging. Because even the most independent employees still need to feel connected. Building community is harder in today's hybrid and remote environments, but not impossible. The key: leverage moments that matter. This might mean hosting intentional team development events a few times a year, strengthening onboarding and training with human connection, or even just carving out unstructured time in one-on-one meetings. And skip the generic, "How are you?" Instead, ask, "What's taking up space in your mind this week? What's been energizing or draining you lately?" These focused check-ins create real support and connection. Because people don't just want to work with colleagues, they want to belong to a team. C is for challenge, the engine of growth and engagement. Here's the truth. Without challenge, work becomes repetitive, stale, draining. Gallup's 2023 report found that 41% of employees feel their jobs lack growth. That's a huge missed opportunity and a ticking time bomb for retention. Some leaders worry about investing in development, fearing that trained employees might leave. But the opposite is true. The more people grow, the more they stay. And growth doesn't just mean technical skills, it's about psychological capability too. Resilience, confidence, the courage to tackle complex problems. When leaders provide structured stretch assignments, feedback, and support, teams level up. They make fewer mistakes, rely less on managers, and handle tougher challenges with growing independence. Bottom line, autonomy fuels ownership. Belonging deepens commitment. Challenge sparks growth. When you design work that meets these three needs, you don't just motivate your team, you multiply their potential. 3. Create workload sustainability. The first mindset helps people feel valued. The second ensures their work feels meaningful. And this third shift? It's about making sure your people can keep going. For the long haul. Welcome to the third mindset shift. Create workload sustainability. Because no matter how appreciated or inspired someone feels, they can't thrive if they're running on empty. Sustainable workloads protect performance. They prevent burnout. And most importantly, they build the resilience needed for long-term success. So what stands in the way? Often, it starts at the top. Leaders struggle with something we call impact blindness, a disconnect from the sheer number and weight of initiatives in motion. From their vantage point, each project may seem manageable, but on the ground, it's a different story. There's also the issue of limited sightlines. Each department knows its own workload, but few understand what other teams are juggling. The result? Overlapping demands, under-resourced launches. And when someone leaves the team, their work gets absorbed, but rarely redistributed in a sustainable way. It's not negligence. It's the absence of a system. So how do we fix it? Step 1. Get analytical. Zoom out. When does workload typically spike? Can you shift timelines to soften the pressure? Are there simple automation tools or templates that could save time? Even small tweaks, like building a searchable resource hub or reducing redundant meetings, can significantly ease the burden. But let's not forget, pressure doesn't just come from inside. Clients, too, shape the pace. That's why frameworks like the Mindful Business Charter matter. This isn't just a feel-good policy. It's a set of practical guidelines used by top firms to encourage healthier ways of working. It promotes respect for off hours, realistic deadlines, mindful communication that considers the human impact of work demands. It's a roadmap for sustainable service, and everyone benefits. Now, beyond process, we need to think about people. Strong teams are resilient teams, and resilience is something you can build. Start with a team charter. A simple but powerful tool that sets expectations for how you'll work together. It clarifies roles. It defines communication norms. It even creates boundaries around availability, so always on isn't the default. Next, invest in cross-training. When your team members can step into each other's roles during crunch periods, you reduce bottlenecks and stress. And finally, address the elephant in the room, the culture of constant availability. Leaders need to model the change. Don't just say you value work-life balance, show it. Honor evenings and weekends. Protect vacation time, and please don't reply to emails at midnight. Because when you do, you're not just being responsive. You're setting a silent standard that others will follow, even at the cost of their well-being. Sustainable workloads don't happen by accident. They require intention, leadership, and a shared commitment to long-term health over short-term hustle. Because when you build for endurance, not exhaustion, you don't just get better performance, you get people who want to stay, grow, and give their best again and again. 4. Build stress resilience. The modern workplace is a pressure cooker. Pandemics, AI disruption, economic swings, shifting skill demands. It's no wonder stress levels are rising fast and staying high. That's why this fourth mindset isn't optional. It's essential. Build stress resilience because it's not enough for teams to survive the storm. They need to adapt, evolve, and sometimes even grow because of it. Resilient teams don't just hope things will go smoothly. They're built with intention and at their core, 4 key resources. 1. Team efficacy. A deep shared belief that no matter what, they can figure it out. It's not blind optimism. It's collective confidence earned through clear wins and strong collaboration. 2. Clarity of roles and routines. Everyone knows their job. Everyone understands each other's skills, and they've developed healthy rhythms of interaction that prevent misfires when pressure mounts. 3. Improvisation. Think MacGyver. Resilient teams use what they have, creatively, flexibly, and fast. They pivot without panic. 4. Psychological safety. This one's the glue, because you can't innovate, challenge ideas, or admit missteps unless it feels safe to speak up. When team members know their voice won't be punished, brilliance emerges. So, how do you build this kind of team? Start with clear, meaningful goals. Make sure everyone knows not just what needs to get done, but why it matters. Tie their work to the bigger picture. Then, implement transparent tracking. Systems that let everyone see progress in real time. This builds ownership, and over time, it builds that precious team efficacy. Next, adjust priorities often and visibly. In fast-moving environments, yesterday's urgency can be today's distraction. So let your calendars reflect what's truly important now. If your schedule doesn't match your stated priorities, your team will feel that disconnect. And don't overlook the power of good documentation. When stress hits, clear reference points reduce mental load and accelerate problem solving. Make those resources easy to find, well-organized, and up-to-date. These are small, practical moves, but they build resilience before the crisis hits. But resilience isn't just a team project. It's an organizational discipline. Leaders must go first. When executives show adaptability, it ripples throughout the culture. When they scan the horizon for trends and plan proactively, they shift the whole company from reactive to ready. And when they create room for experimentation, even failure, they build a workplace where resilience becomes part of the DNA. Here's the truth. You can't avoid the turbulence, but you can prepare your people to face it with strength. Because stress doesn't have to destroy us. With the right mindset, it can sharpen us, shape us, and strengthen the bonds that turn good teams into great ones. 5. Promote values alignment. What really makes someone thrive at work? It's not the paycheck, it's not the title, it's not even the perks. A study of 20,000 employees uncovered something far more powerful: meaning. And where does meaning come from? From alignment. When your personal values match the values of the place you work. That's when work becomes more than just a job. It becomes a calling. This brings us to the 5th mindset. Promote values alignment. Because when leaders don't just talk about values, but live them, people feel it. They feel seen. They feel connected. And they stay engaged. But here's the flip side. When there's a gap between what's said and what's done, trust crumbles. It sounds like this. We value work-life balance, but reward the people who never log off. We encourage innovation, but punish risk-takers when things go sideways. That's not alignment. That's confusion. And confused people don't stay long, or if they do, they stop caring. So how do you build true values alignment? It starts by connecting the dots. Help your team see how their work creates real impact. Not just in profit margins, but in people's lives. When someone understands how their spreadsheet helps a community or how their line of code makes a product safer, that's when purpose clicks into place. Next, bake values into the very beginning, during hiring and onboarding. Ask candidates what they care about, and when new people join, don't just hand them a handbook. Have a conversation. Here's what we stand for. What parts of that speak to you? That dialogue sets the tone from day one. Then go deeper. See your team not just for what they do today, but for who they can become. Hold career conversations that matter. Give stretch assignments that align with their aspirations, not just your agenda. When people feel their future is valued, they invest more fully in the present. And above all, model the values yourself. If you preach balance, don't send emails at midnight. If you believe in psychological safety, be the first to admit mistakes. If you want a culture of learning, show your own curiosity and humility. Because your behavior writes the real mission statement. Every single day. When values and actions align, something magical happens. Work becomes meaningful, trust grows, motivation soars. And your team? They don't just stick around, they show up with heart. Final summary. In a world of endless meetings, rising burnout, and constant change, Lead Well is a breath of fresh air. This isn't just another leadership book, it's a science-backed guide packed with practical tools you can apply right now. Here's what you'll learn. How to reduce burnout, for you and your team. How to build true psychological safety. Why optimizing energy, not just time, is the real game changer. How to cultivate deep purpose and human connection. And how to foster a culture of continuous growth. Because great leadership isn't about micromanaging, it's about creating the conditions where others can thrive. Want more insights like this? Tell us in the comments. Should we dive into Dare to Lead, The Making of a Manager, or another must-read next? And don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a leadership gem. Let's grow together.